Hello everyone, how are you? Well, I hope. So here's your video message for today's class, which is Wednesday the 6th of May. So today we have got 3 lesson aims. So today we're going to be talking about the stages of life. So we'll look at some vocabulary for talking about that. Then we're going to check your knowledge of legal ages in the UK. And then we're going to do some practice of reading and writing skills. And I know last week's video was a little bit long, so I'm going to try and make this video shorter. So you'll be pleased to hear that. So first, some vocabulary related to stages of life. I've put 2 links for you here. The first one gives you some vocabulary and asks you to put it into sentences. And then the second one, there is a video explaining some of the vocabulary, and then there is a test at the end. So that should teach you all you need to know. Then have a think about these sentences. How would you complete them? So the first one, old age is. The second one, the secret to eternal youth is. So eternal means lasting forever, and youth is obviously being young. So basically you're thinking about how can we stay young as long as possible. And the last sentence, I would or wouldn't like to be young forever because. So how would you finish those sentences? Just have a think about it, and if you would like to send me those sentences, please do so, because it would be interesting to hear what you think. So then, some reading for you. So the first reading is about the super young. So that's an interesting expression. What do you think this expression means? When you have thought about that, have a look at the Super Young Questions worksheet in my email. Read the questions and think about how you would answer them. Then look at the Super Young Paragraphs worksheet. This has answers to these questions given by a Dr. David Weeks. So read his answers, and can you match each paragraph to the correct question? When you've done that, do you agree with what he says? And then have a look at the underlined expressions in the paragraphs and check that you know what they mean. Okay, and when you have finished the tasks, you can check your answers on page 4 of this document. So that's the first reading task for you about the super young. Then the second reading task is about eternal youth. So there is a text on page 29 attached to my email. Read that text and then have a look at page 28, also in my email, and do exercise D and E on page 28. And like with the previous task, you can check your answers on page 4 of this document. And the final reading task is called Worry More, Live Longer, which is a bit of a strange title because you would think the more you worry, the shorter your life would be. But this is an interesting text because it suggests that the more you worry, the longer your life will be. So there are various activities. I think there are 8 in total. So do the 8 activities, and then if you scroll through the document which is attached to my email with the activities, scroll through that to the end, and then you'll see the answers. So you can check your answers there. Okay, so that's all the work for this week, but it's important to mention one other thing for information. So this Friday the 8th of May, is a bank holiday. I'm sure you know, or maybe you don't know, because at the moment every day seems the same, doesn't it? But anyway, Friday the 8th of May is a bank holiday. And the reason it's a bank holiday is because it's VE Day, and that stands for Victory in Europe Day. and this day was the end of the Second World War in Europe. So on the 8th of May 1945, the Second World War in Europe finished. And so every year since, we have celebrated VE Day, because obviously it was an important day. This year is the 75th anniversary, because it's 75 years since 1945. So you might see on the internet, in the news, this man. This is Winston Churchill, and he gave a very famous speech at the end of the Second World War. Or you will see black and white photos like this of soldiers and people in Britain celebrating the end of the war. So it's quite an important day. So if you would like to find out more about VE Day, then I have put 2 links for you here. This link is to a video which explains a bit more about it. It's a BBC video, and it's an interesting one. And then here, also from the BBC, from Newsround, is a link to an article written for sort of older teenagers about VE Day, which is also interesting. And usually we have celebrations on VE Day, so you'll see things like this bunting with the Union Jacks, and people will have parties. This year obviously it's a bit different, so this year the message is keep calm and stay in, but still to celebrate. So because of the coronavirus and lockdown, many VE Day events and celebrations have been cancelled, but it's still important to celebrate the day, to show pride in our country and honour the people who lost their lives for us. So this year the message is, why not have a stay-at-home tea party? So you can decorate your house in red, white and blue, join in the nation's toast at 3 p.m. on BBC One, and listen to the Queen's speech at 9 p.m. on BBC One. So if you want to join in, you can make your own VE Day Great British Bunting to display in your home. And there's a link here to click to see how to make that. And maybe your children might like to make that with you, and you can use it to decorate your house. It's quite a fun activity. Okay, so I hope you enjoy the bank holiday on Friday. The weather is going to be good, I think, which makes a big difference. And I will be in touch next week again about next week's lesson. So bye-bye for now, everyone. Stay safe.